Howdy, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Runt's Fireside Chat. This is the show, I guess you can call it, where we talk about things not necessarily related to gaming and how things are going in my life. Life is, starting out as a content creator, goings-ons in the world, that kind of stuff. And, it's meant to be a bit more laid back, a little more relaxing. So grab your tea, sit back, and enjoy listening to this stream of consciousness as it comes to me. And, kind of where I started last week and where we're definitely going to talk about just right out of the gate is, once again, my heart and my thoughts go out to everyone affected by the incredibly negative current events going on in the world right now. There's a lot of people affected in a lot of different ways, and I just wish you all the best. And like I said last week, I really hope that I can bring some level of entertainment, some level of enjoyment, positivity, that kind of thing to your life as kind of an escape from what's really going on in the world. But because I spent a good bit of time last week talking about it, I don't want to talk about it here, and I instead want to focus on some different things that I've had on my mind. And I also apologize if I sound, a little bit off today. I had a bit of a rough night. After I'd been asleep for a couple hours, I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep, which happens from time to time, but not really that often. But added on top of it, I had very strange racing thoughts. I was very nauseous. I got the chills and, would randomly shake and spaz from time to time. And I ended up having to take some Benadryl to knock myself out and get moving throughout the rest of the evening, or I guess the rest of the morning, really, until it was time to wake up. And so definitely today has not been the easiest day in the world. Fortunately, that's why I've got this. It's a mix of some American breakfast black tea for a little bit more caffeine so that I can make sure I'm staying awake during this recording session, plus a little bit of lemon ginger. Ginger is definitely known to help nausea, and I figure it's probably a good idea to have a little bit of that. So yeah, rough night. It's been a day of making sure I can stay awake, trying to have just little snacks here and there. Probably at some point within the next couple hours, I'll cook an actual meal and try to feel better. But just in general, I wanted to make sure that I still got this recording done. I don't feel bad enough to not do it, and so that's why I'm here and I'm chatting with you folks out there, because to me, this is my escape. This is my hobby. And if I'm not feeling that great, honestly, most of the time I'm just going to sit back and play relaxing video games or, chat with my significant other. And in a way, it feels very relaxing to sit here and just kind of talk for 30 minutes. It's something that I definitely don't feel stressed to do. I enjoy it greatly. And so it would almost feel weird to say I'm too sick to sit and talk in front of a camera for 30 minutes. It feels kind of weird for me to say. And I'm sure that, as time goes by, I'll grow into, hey, it would probably be better if I don't record today. But at least for right now, it seems like it works for me regardless of how I'm feeling. And I am very happy about that. And, I feel like people have been very supportive so far as letting me know what kind of content they enjoy and, helping just build this very initial community. There's been a couple people that have been consistently watching the Twitch streams, and I've been having a great time with that. Me and Howdy Games did a collaboration, did a little bit of Rocket League one night. We're trying to do a little bit more of that. Try to find maybe some more time to do a YouTube series together, depending upon when I can find the recording time. And so I've really been enjoying growing this community and just seeing how people respond positively when you bring a positive energy to the scene. And that's something that I'm always gonna try to keep moving on. You know, I know that in today's day and age, you know, today's modern gaming, toxicity is much more prevalent than we wish it was. And yeah, I'm gonna get salty from time to time. I might get just that slightest little bit of getting frustrated with a game, but for the most part, I really just enjoy the gameplay, the collaboration with the fans and everything like that. And that's what I really want to keep moving forward with. And so, you know, and like I kind of mentioned before, I'm usually recording these on Tuesday evening after having watched Check the Wire, which I'm going to probably talk about every week. That's the podcast from Northern Lion and Dan Giesling. Definitely make sure you check that out if you haven't checked it out already. And, you know, one of the things that came up today, and there are a couple things that came up today that I'd actually like to hit on, but one of the things that came up today is, you know, growing your community, quote unquote, the right way. And the right way means different things to different people. And I appreciated that, you know, they both made sure to state that obviously they're not going to ostracize or look down on people who like to run their channels in different ways. But I really connected with their viewpoint on not sticking content behind paywalls. And obviously just starting out, I don't have any sort of monetization that I could even apply even if I wanted to. But that's something that I want to reiterate from the very beginning, is I'm not in this for money. Like I said, I've been really enjoying it so far. I can see myself continuing to enjoy it as time goes by. And I will never gate any of my content behind a paywall. I think that this type of content should be free to consume, and if in the future people are interested in, you know, supporting my hobby, then more power to you, and obviously it will be much appreciated. But to me, I don't want to say, oh, you have to subscribe to see my VODs, or, you know, there's going to be a subscriber only stream that you have to be a subscriber to be able to chat, or things like that. I see the benefit in that for some people, and for some people it does work to have those paywalls. But I'm saying it now, and I'll say it as far into the future as I can see. My content will always be free for everyone to consume, and any monetary gain that I make off of this be purely based out of goodwill, your own enjoyment, and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to hold true to that value, you know, theoretically forever. I mean, obviously I'm not necessarily going to get to do this forever, but as long as my channels exist, you will never have to pay for any of the content. And that's just, you know, a fundamental value that I hold as I'm doing this, is I would much rather just attempt to put out good content and let people make their own decisions about whether or not they are interested in adding more support than just consuming it. And I'm perfectly happy if I never make a penny from this, because it's just a lot of fun. And like I said, that they both kind of hit on that same point, that they would prefer to be entertaining, put out good content, and let the community, let the viewers figure out what level of support they're interested in giving. And one of the other things they talked about leads me into the main topic that I wanted to hit on today, was they talked about trying to find the right games to play on their YouTube channels, Twitch channels. And it's actually something that I've been struggling with, because I have a lot of different games I want to play, and deciding what to play is a difficult decision, especially when it comes to my YouTube channel, where I only have enough time in the week to record a single Let's Play series. I don't have the time that I can take out to sit there and deliver 3-4 videos a day. I just, full-time job, side business, all that kind of stuff. And so figuring out what to put in that 9 a.m. slot on my YouTube channel is very difficult. And I really enjoyed hearing their insights into it, but I want to focus a little bit more on myself and kind of the decisions that I've been making for the channel going forward. And a big part of it is looking at the analytics. And, I know some of you are going to immediately turn off to this conversation like, oh, here comes the YouTuber talking about his numbers. Honestly, like, I think my best viewed video is still 30 or 40 views, so it's not like we're talking about, giant sample sizes. But what I am noticing is that after the first week of starting a new series, and this has happened with both Epic Battle Fantasy and Nova Drift, and to a lesser extent Hitman. Hitman only ran for 5 episodes, but I'm starting to see that the views start to fall off a little bit after that first week. And I think part of it is because I'm not super entertaining yet. I'm not good with the banter and the entertainment level. And so you would hope to see progress in how good I am at the game. Well, Epic Battle Fantasy V kind of had its own thing going on from that perspective, and I think that either you enjoy that type of game or you don't. And once you kind of get past like, okay, I'm not seeing much growth, we're kind of seeing the same fights and battles over and over again, I'm going to kind of tune out of the series, and I get that. And with Nova Drift, you see me struggling to hit any decent scores, and so you're thinking, okay, well, he's not that entertaining and he's not that good at this game, so I'm going to just turn it off. I'm going to stop watching this series. And that's totally fair. I 100% get that. And the analytics definitely follow that in that, after those first few episodes, the views start declining. In fact, I think it's been 3 or 4 episodes in a row now that have had 0 views. And that's with, the 20 or so subscribers I have. And so from my perspective, what that tells me is that A, I need to find what type of content is going to stick with people better, and B, I should mix things up fairly often. And using analytics to drive decision making in this industry is a little bit controversial and also kind of difficult to do when you're just starting out. Sorry about the yawning. Like I said, that's what the tea is for. Using analytics to drive your decision making, what kind of games you're going to play, trying to understand what viewers want to see, what they don't want to see, that kind of stuff. It is kind of difficult to put the pieces together when you don't have a lot of numbers to look at. And, obviously part of that is just continuing to grow my channel, and that's also why I think mixing things up more often gives me a bit of a wider reach as well. And so something I'm going to try, and this leads into the topic about trying new things, whether it be in your daily life, in your work life, whatever the case may be. Trying new things usually is a good idea because it broadens your horizons and gives you an opportunity to experiment and learn. And, knowledge is power, despite how people may, try to dismiss that phrase. Knowledge is definitely still power. And that's why I'm mixing things up a little bit. I'm going to run each 9 a.m. series for a week at a time. And, I've also noticed that the general amount of views on my channel wanes down after Wednesday, because for the most part, the past few weeks, it's been Runt 9 Looks At comes out on Monday, Runt 9 Reviews comes out on Tuesday, and this video comes out on Wednesdays. And people will stick around, check out the channel, see what I uploaded that day, and those videos get a few more views, and then it kind of wanes down after that once we're back to just the one video per day. And so I think by starting a new series every Thursday, running it for just a week, gives you a chance to dive into these new games that you may not be aware of, see more extended gameplay than you can see in just a simple looks at or reviews video. But I think it stops it from getting stale. I think it stops that interaction where, me not being good at the game and me still working on being more of an entertainer on camera. It keeps things fresh. And again, I think it broadens my reach. It makes me more presentable to more people. And for me personally, it allows me an opportunity to play more games, which, ultimately is never a bad thing. And I think that in the long run, I expect to see benefits from that, in that once the viewer base does continue to grow and I start seeing, closer to 100 views for video instead of 10 views per video, that'll give me a lot more insight into what kind of content you all like to see out of it. What games do you think that maybe I was halfway decent at and you want to see more of, versus games that you could take it or leave it. You would prefer not to see it on the channel anymore. And right now, without a lot of comments, likes and dislikes and that kind of stuff, makes it kind of difficult to gauge what people do and don't like. So for the moment, I'm just playing games that I enjoy, that I think are a lot of fun, and we'll kind of just let the channel keep growing. And I'm perfectly fine with doing that. But I think it's an interesting point that trying new things and experimentation, that's how you find out what works and what doesn't. Sometimes making mistakes, and I'm not saying I've made mistakes with my channel thus far, but you can learn a lot more from failure than a win, in my opinion. If you win, especially if you hadn't failed before, you don't know what all played into the success. Whereas when you fail, especially if it's easy to see why you failed, I think it makes it a lot easier to learn from it, become, a better person or a better content creator, or whatever aspect of your life it applies to. Nobody likes making mistakes, but if you can turn that mistake into a positive thing, I think that can bring a lot more value to your life than just constantly being successful, and whenever you make a mistake, just sweeping it under the rug and kind of forgetting about it. And funny enough, that is something else that they talked about on Check the Wire today, was being able to admit you were wrong, saying I'm sorry, and moving on. And, I struggled with this for many years. I know, like a lot of you out there, I struggled with my, mental health issues for a very long time. I'm still struggling with them, but, things are a lot better than they were, for example, like back in high school. I've been a nerdy guy playing video games my whole life, very isolated, antisocial, and so, you get bullied a lot in school, and that's kind of just par for the course. What that does is it makes you doubt yourself a lot, and makes you think that you're never good enough, or that the mistakes you make are incredibly visible, that people really see all of your mistakes, all of your flaws, when in reality, everyone else is too worried about their own mistakes and flaws to worry about yours. And it takes a long time to get to that point. Realize that rather than beating yourself up for a mistake that you made, which is, like I said, for so many years, if I made a mistake, I wouldn't let myself live it down. I still hold on to vague, fleeting memories of mistakes that I made 10, 15 years ago. I can still remember exactly how awkward I felt. And it's because I beat myself up so much for those mistakes. When in reality, the other people involved forgot about it right after it happened. Some of your most embarrassing moments to many other people were just fleeting thoughts, things that just happened. And that's something that, I would call on many of you out there to, kind of take this message to heart that, yeah, absolutely, you don't want to make mistakes. But if you do make a mistake, recognize it, learn from it, grow from it, apologize to the people that need to be apologized to, and fix it. An I'm sorry without any action is pointless and hollow, and you might as well not say I'm sorry at all, because if you're not willing to do anything about it, you're not actually sorry. But if you're willing to say, hey, apologize, I made a mistake, here's what happened, in the future, here's what I'm going to do instead. It really is that simple. And then the next time you're in that same situation, do what you said you were going to do. Follow through and be better. And that's something that I've learned over the past couple years, and it's been very life-changing for me to not dwell on the mistakes as much, to use mistakes as a source of positivity. Years ago when I was in high school, we had I think she was a science teacher, and she had escaped from a very, very tough situation in, I believe it was Nigeria. She was able to escape to America and get her teaching degree and go start teaching at a high school that was very prestigious. And every year you would sit down and have a discussion with, all of the kids in that grade. She was a freshman teacher. And just kind of tell her story. Tell us about the struggles she went through, the fighting she had to do to get to where she is, how grateful she was to have the opportunity she had. And I'm not one to really hold on to quotes, because quotes out of context can be misconstrued in many different ways. But there's something she said that always has stuck with me. And I'm sure that I'm not quoting it word for word, but the premise holds the same. And it's, don't let your problems be your excuses for failure. Let them be your reasons for success. And, at the time, I was too young, too naive, too stupid, too depressed, whatever the case may be, to take it to heart. But as I grow older, as I go through more trials and tribulations in my life, and you'll learn more about some of my past as time goes by, learn a little bit more about me, what I've gone through, especially over the past 4 or 5 years. I could sit here and tell you, here's all the reasons why I let my life go to crap, and all the things that I dwell on from the past, all the things that I hate myself for. Or I could come to you and say, hey, this is what happened in my past. I don't regret it. I'm glad that I had these opportunities and these experiences because they made me who I am today. I would not be sitting here talking in front of a camera to you and, trying to encourage positivity and growth if I hadn't gone through these things in my life before. And, I really do try to take that to heart, that everyone goes through their own stuff. The older you get, the larger that suitcase you're dragging behind you is. The baggage will grow. And you can either let that baggage weigh you down, struggle through new opportunities in life, or you can use that baggage as learning opportunities to enrich your life and, like I said, encourage personal growth and try to, spin it into a positive thing. And I mean, obviously that's a lot easier said than done. Again, a lot of my mental health is under control because I took it into my own hands and, to put it plainly, went and found the relevant medical professional, took their advice, and, my life is a lot better because of it. And, maybe without that help, I wouldn't have been able to take my own advice here. So I'm not sitting here saying that this is like some sort of golden bullet, or I guess the term is silver bullet. But, in these trying times, talking about struggles that I've overcome maybe can encourage you to look back on the things that you've already overcome in the past and know that no matter what, you're going to pull through the other side stronger, and use it as just an opportunity to try to make your life better in even just the smallest way. I know this sounds like all pseudoscientific BS, and I get that. I'm spouting stuff that is basically right out of a self-help book. Yay, go me. Congratulations. I can, read these things and spout them back. Great. Go me. But in a sense, it has honestly really helped me to just try to take a little bit more of a positive spin and take control of things that I didn't feel like I previously had control of. I think a lot of my problems in the past were succumbing to the lack of control, letting it take hold of me, becoming anxious and worrying instead of going out and fixing it. And taking that control, taking those risks, like I said, try new things. A big part of what started one of the rougher periods in my life, but easily the biggest growth period in my life, was taking a chance on someone who had a very negative past. And we were together for quite some time, and yeah, it was a really rough time. But I learned so much from that experience. And I remember sitting there with my phone, had gotten a message, reply to some of my questions, and I saw what looked like, red flags or things that I may not be okay with. I said, you know what? I honestly have never met anyone like this before. I don't actually know what goes on in this person's head. And rather than sit here on my golden throne, look down on everyone, say, this is why I'm better than you, which, I definitely had a holier than thou attitude for a long time when I was young. And a lot of young people do tend to be that way, because you start gaining knowledge, you start gaining life experience, and you feel invincible. And then when you get knocked down a peg in your early 20s, you start to reevaluate that and realize, oh, okay, maybe I am a mere mortal. And taking that jump, trying new things, trying things that I have no idea how this is going to go, but I know I'm going to learn something from it. And circling back around, I'm applying that same logic to my content creation. Now, obviously, I have to let things run for a while so I can see how they work over time, but I'm going to try a bunch of new things. I'm going to try to create my own niches, create my own experiences. And I hope that all of you are happy to come along for the ride and, engage in these mutual experiences as we travel through this world together. Again, I know that it's not always easiest to find the positivity in life, especially when you are struggling with mental health issues. Again, like I've been there, I am still there to some extent. And just saying, be more positive doesn't work. It does not work flat out. Can confirm someone telling you be more positive doesn't work. I'm not here to say be more positive. I'm just here to share my stories, talk about my life, and I'm going to say this pretty much every episode. If I can help just one person out there crack a smile, find entertainment, find positivity in one of my videos, then I've done exactly what I set out to do. And that's going to make me feel just really empowered, really special that you decided to watch me. Just another random dude, one of many millions doing this and you found something interesting, you found something entertaining, you found something uplifting from watching me. And it's a feeling that I can't even describe how positive it is for me. So we have hit our time limit here. I know that we got pretty deep here. It's a stream of consciousness, and sometimes that stream of consciousness is going to lead me down some pretty deep rabbit holes. There's a lot of my life that I want to share with the community, so you can know really who I am, what I've gone through. And I just really appreciate you all coming along this ride. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of Runt's Fireside Chat. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. And, you know, if you did, check back in next week when I talk about more stuff that just happens to pop in my brain and I completely neglect the document that has all of the ideas that I want to talk about and instead talk about things that just pop up as we go. It's been working though. So far, I'm really enjoying doing this. I look forward to recording this every week, and I hope that you all look forward to seeing it every week. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I am Runt9, and I will see you later.